Alright, folks, today might get controversial, alright? The old heads might come for me, but I don't care, because I'm tired of pretending like Reggie Miller was some competition. Now, Reggie Miller is one of the most respected players in NBA history. 5-time All-Star, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest shooters ever. The man who traumatized the New York Knicks. And somehow, people have slowly started talking about him like he was one of the greatest superstars the NBA has ever seen. He's all on TV. He's on all the shows. When you talk about Michael Jordan, they say he had to go through Reggie Miller. He had to go through Reggie Miller and the Pacers. But here's the question. Was Reggie Miller actually that dominant? Or has a handful of unforgettable moments completely rewritten how we remember his career? Because when you take emotion out of the conversation, the numbers tell a very different story. And so today, we're breaking down why Reggie Miller might be the most overrated superstar in NBA history. Now, before we start criticizing Reggie Miller, we need to define the word superstar. A superstar isn't simply a great player. A superstar consistently dominates games, wins MVPs, first team All-NBAs, forces defenses to completely change their game plans every night. Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, David Robinson, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, these are superstars. These are superstars. And now let's compare Reggie Miller to these superstars. Here's something people don't realize. Reggie Miller played 18 NBA seasons, 1-8, 18 seasons, 4, 8, 12, 16, 18 NBA seasons. During that time, he made 5 All-Star teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 All-Star teams. He was selected to All-NBA, third team, only 3 times. All-NBA, third team, only 3 times. Never the first team, never the second team. He never finished higher than 13th in MVP voting. Think about that. Never higher than 13th. Not once during his career did voters believe he was even close to being one of the league's best players. One of the league's best players. Yet today, people sometimes rank him ahead of players who were legitimate MVP candidates year after year. And that's where the disconnect begins. Let's talk about production. Reggie finished his career averaging 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Outstanding efficiency for his career, especially when we talk about from the 3-point lane, the 3-point range, and the free throw line. Those are excellent numbers. But are they superstar numbers? Compare him to the elite wings of the 90s. Jordan, Clyde Drexler, Dominique Wilkins, Grant Hill, even Mitch Richmond. Most produce more points, more rebounds, more playmaking, or earned more individual accolades. Reggie efficiency was elite, but his volume wasn't. Now here's where the argument gets interesting. People say, but Reggie became a different player in the playoffs. And there is truth to that. He delivered iconic moments. The 8 points in 9 seconds against New York, game-winning shots, clutch performances. He elevated his game on the biggest stage. But here's the problem. We often remember the moments more than the entire playoff runs. For every legendary game, there were series where he struggled. And despite multiple deep playoff runs, he never won a championship, never won Finals MVP, never carried Indiana across that finish line. Being clutch matters, but clutch moments alone don't automatically elevate someone into the same tier as the all-time great superstars. Ask the average NBA fan to name a Reggie Miller moment. Almost everyone says the Knicks, Spike Lee, Madison Square Garden, 8 points in 9 seconds. But they also dominate his legacy. If you remove the Knicks rivalry, how differently would people remember Reggie Miller? Great players build careers, legendary rivalries builds myths. And Reggie had perhaps the greatest rivalry of the 90s outside of Michael Jordan. And now this is where context matters. Modern basketball has made Reggie Miller age beautifully. Today's NBA values spacing, movement shooting, off-ball gravity. Those were Reggie's strengths long before they became fashionable. When analysts look back, they see a player ahead of his time. And that is true. But being ahead of your time doesn't automatically make you more accomplished than your peers. Influence and greatness aren't always the same thing. And now, to be fair, calling Reggie overrated doesn't mean calling him bad. He is far from being bad. He is one of the greatest shooters ever, one of the greatest playoff performers of his generation, one of the smartest off-ball players basketball has ever seen. His movement without the basketball influenced future stars like Steph, Clay, Rip Hamilton. Those accomplishments deserve respect, but respect is different from exaggeration. And now, here's the biggest reason Reggie's reputation continues to rise. The NBA is now obsessed with three-point shooting. Fans who never watched him live look at his shooting efficiency and assume he dominated like today's scorers. Then they watch his highlights, and the highlights are incredible. Game winners, trash talk, clutch shots. What they don't see are the ordinary nights, the seasons where other guards clearly outperform him, the lack of MVP level production. Highlights create legends, entire careers tell the full story. And so, is Reggie Miller one of the greatest shooters ever? Yes. One of the most clutch players in NBA history? Yes. Hall of Famer? Yes. But was he the kind of superstar that people now make him out to be? That is a much harder argument to make. When you compare his resume to the true legends of his era, the accolades simply aren't there. The statistical dominance isn't there. The MVP contention isn't there. And that's why Reggie Miller may be the most overrated superstar in NBA history. Not because he wasn't great, but because over time, the legend has grown larger than the career itself. The NBA doesn't just remember greatness, it remembers moments. Reggie Miller gave us some of the greatest basketball moments that we've ever seen. But when we separate unforgettable moments from sustained dominance, the conversation changes. And that's what makes Reggie Miller one of the most fascinating and most debated legacies in NBA history. And here's a little extra for you. If Reggie Miller was truly one of the greatest superstars ever, why did the NBA rarely treat him like one? Mitch Richmond averaged more points, more rebounds, more assists, made more All-Star games, and earned more All-NBA selections. Joe Dumars won Finals MVP, made more All-Star teams, and was considered one of the best perimeter defenders of his era. Glen Rice put up nearly identical scoring numbers and had seasons where he finished higher in MVP voting than Reggie Miller. Yet today, ask fans who's better, most will say Reggie Miller. Why? Because history remembers the moments, not always the careers. The Knicks rivalry, 8 points in 9 seconds, Spike Lee, the dramatic playoff shots, those moments became larger than the resume itself. That's the heart of my overrated argument. Not that he wasn't a great player, but that today's perception of him often exceeds how he was viewed during his own playing career. During his career, he made 5 All-Star teams, 3 All-NBA third teams, and was never a serious MVP contender by the voting results.